Welcome to the City Show. Pat O'Melia here on GGR, live on GGR, as I say every week. Tell your friends, download the GGR app. You can listen to a lot of programming, much more than what we have there with GGR. There's podcasts, there's music, there's all sorts of stuff there that you can pass the time away listening. It's on Live 365. If you go to our Twitter site, you'll see it posted with today's topics. We go to Live 365, then go and download the GGR, and then you're set. And we got some new programming coming. But I was talking to a guy today who's going to be doing a podcast on GGR. So we got some new stuff. We got 2 meetings this week with new hosts and programmers. So we got things going on there. So download the Live 365 app, get things rolling. Today, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about the assassination attempt on President Trump. We're going to talk about James Solomon's 100 days as the mayor of Jersey City. We're going to talk about license plate readers. There's a big issue in Hudson County concerning LPRs. I think the forces left a barn on that one. Talk about helicopters. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about. The first thing we got to talk about is breaking for commercial. You're listening to the City Show here on GGR. I'm Pat O'Melia. I'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Your basement or attic packed? You no longer have a garage? Extra Space Storage has space. Self-storage units starting at 4 foot by 4 foot and up for the storage of furniture, appliances, electronics, clothing, business inventory, sporting equipment. Some Extra Space locations even have vehicle storage. Extra Space Storage from North Bergen to Toms River and everywhere in between and beyond. Visit on the net for your nearest Extra Space Storage location, extraspace.com. Hi, I'm Pat O'Melia with the Hudson County High School Sports and Entertainment Network, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. You may have heard me talk about teaching high school juniors and seniors studio and radio production. The hope is when these kids graduate and wish to continue their education, they may receive college scholarships, or if not, they will have the experience from our program to get employment at the major motion movie studios here in New Jersey and New York. I started a GoFundMe where you can make a donation completely tax deductible to help these kids and the studio program. Please go to GoFundMe and type in Hudson County High School Sports and Entertainment Network. I thank you now for your generosity. Toms River Armory, 602 Clifton Avenue, right at the intersection of Clifton Avenue and Route 37 at Toms River. Your local source for all your firearm, ammo needs, and accessories. Plus, gunsmithing, repair, and cleaning on site. And coming soon, firearm training and classes. Toms River Armory, 732-569-3730. On the net at tomsriverarmory.com. Open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Toms River Armory, 602 Clifton Avenue at the intersection of Route 37 and Clifton Avenue in Toms River. Visit on the net at tomsriverarmory.com.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one path stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Your basement or attic packed? You no longer have a garage? Extra Space Storage has space. Self-storage units starting at 4 foot by 4 foot and up for the storage of furniture, appliances, electronics, clothing, business inventory, sporting equipment. Some Extra Space locations even have vehicle storage. Extra Space Storage from North Bergen to Toms River and everywhere in between and beyond. Visit on the net for your nearest Extra Space Storage location, extraspace.com.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
All right, we're back. You listen to the City Show here on GGR. I'm Pat O'Melia. Before we go, we have an event in North Bergen on the 29th at the high school, North Bergen High School on Kennedy Boulevard there. The Harlem Wizards are coming to town. They're just like the Harlem Globetrotters, a lot of trick shots, all the fancy stuff. And they're playing a game at the high school. It's at 6:30 this Wednesday, the 29th. And the tickets are sale. You can get them at the door. Reading off this little thing here. Yeah, it's reasonable. Students are $15. Reserve is $25. Courtside is $45. Again, that's Wednesday, the 29th, 6:30 p.m., North Bergen High School. Doors open at 5:30. My students will be there covering that. And you see the kids running around there with the cameras and the wireless microphones. That's our program, our high school program, where we're teaching North Bergen High School kids, juniors and seniors, studio and radio production. And we got a college coming in tomorrow. We may start taking on college kids. They can work on the same program, just share the same space, just not the same time. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about again. We're live here, GGR City Show. I'm sure you will all know there was an assassination attempt made on the life of Donald Trump at the Correspondents' Dinner in Washington. And there's a lot of blame going everywhere. A lot of blame on the hotel. Yeah, they've had Correspondents' Dinners for years and years at these hotels. Yeah, so the Secret Service did a great job. They secured the banquet area, the banquet hall, but it's a hotel. It's open for business. There are people staying there. For that matter, the gunman was staying basically right above the banquet hall. And a young guy, 31 years old, well-educated, Caltech. Yeah, that's where Leonard and Sheldon work, Caltech. For whatever reason, the whole manifesto, you got to read this, takes off from California, gets to Washington, gets a room at the very hotel where the Correspondents' Dinner is, brings a long gun. Then he gets it downstairs near the banquet. Again, you got degrees of security there. There, heightened security is on the banquet hall. The outside perimeter, there's people are staying there. It's not a prison. People are coming in and going. But the banquet area, they had that secured. And this guy assembles the gun. And law enforcement, by the way, was tipped to this. The family actually tipped off law enforcement, as I understood, that this guy was coming to do it. I believe he called himself the friendly federal assassin. He gets his gun, and he realizes, now there's Secret Service. Security is that you're just not going to walk through the hotel. So he takes a mad dash to get to the banquet hall, and he starts firing off some rounds. That didn't work. They got him on the ground. One Secret Service agent was shot, took a shot to the bulletproof vest, but he's okay. It is astonishing when you look at the backdrop of this guy, the background. Well-educated, guy's a teacher. Guy's a teacher, comes from a prominent family, very religious family. What happens here that makes this younger generation have so much hate in their heart that he actually want to try to kill the president of the United States? And it's like the third attempt. Well, he wasn't the president the first time around. The time in Butler was on the campaign trail. I just understand the hate. And I don't understand what they think they're going to accomplish by taking out the president. The country's going to go on. I said this before with Trump. You love Trump, you hate Trump. I don't agree with everything Trump has done. I've married 48 years. I don't agree with everything my wife says. But there's the good and the bad. Nobody's perfect, no matter who we elect, whether it's a president, mayor, or congressman, whatever the case is. You're not agreeing. If you're going to go with an elected official, you're going to vote for somebody, and you think everything, you're going to walk hand in hand with this elected official throughout his term, not going to happen. They're going to have differing opinions. There's always going to be some differing opinions. All you can do is hope for the best of the 4 years or the 3 years or the 2 years or whatever the term of this particular elected official is. What I think is changing here is social media. Yeah, I don't blame everything on social media. There's a lot of that going on today. But there is a case where, I don't know, maybe they're self-radicalizing, where there is such an abundance of politics on social media. I do politics. I don't want to live politics. And that's one of the things that are happening here. I think I mentioned this before on the show, where politics becomes your personality. That's your problem. Now, some people are very involved in politics. They're running organizations. They get out to vote. But after the election, you got to sit back and hopefully you pick the right guy. You pick the right horse. And you see what happens here. You're not going to be involved in the day that they take a job at the city and you got a job at the administration or something. Outside of that, after the election, you go back to being John Q. Public. And you hope the person you helped or voted for does a good job. Now, if they're not, it doesn't mean that you should, somebody, I don't understand the mindset where they can actually think they're going to go out and take a life. Now, the thing in Butler, innocent people were killed. Fortunately, these guys had bad aim, but unfortunately for the people behind Trump, they died. But it's a case where politics becomes the personality. And these people get it in their mind that they're going to write something somehow. You're not. And this isn't, we've had assassinations throughout, unfortunately, throughout the history of the United States. We're coming up on 250 years. The country continues to go on. Again, you may not like every decision that's made by the elected official. Maybe you support them, maybe you didn't. All you can do is you hope they do the best job possible. I'm a big economy guy. I think everything works with the economy. The economy is in good shape. Everything is in good shape. Am I crazy about paying the high price of fuel right now? No. But as I said in the last few weeks or so, I remember Iran. I remember the 444 days. I remember the coal. I remember 9/11. I remember the various other terrorist attacks. I remember a government that would constantly say death to America. That regime had to change, or at least be put in its place. It's certainly not let them have a nuclear bomb. Now, a lot of people are against that. A lot of people are in favor of it. It's how the election went, right? Yeah. More than 50% of the country voted for Trump. You got to ride Trump out the next 2.5 years. And again, you can only hope he does a good job. For people who think you're going to take action in your hand and make a change and you're going to shoot up Trump or the Trump administration people, you're not going to affect any change. But I honestly think it's social media. I think there's an information overload. And most of the information is ass backwards. It's wrong. People get that in their mind. And it inspires violence. And a lot of rhetoric and this stuff calling people fascists and pedophiles and every other thing. Nobody's been convicted of any of that. At least the people they charge on the internet with the Epstein files. I always say with the Epstein files, where were the parents when these young girls were on the plane or on the island? Where were the parents? Why does anybody ever bring that up? When these women or whoever it is are having some sort of a press conference, nobody says, where was your mom and dad on this when you were on that plane? Nobody seems to bring that up. But we make these accusations, and it's all over the internet all the time. And it is some people of weaker mind, and I'm going to say this individual here who's a teacher, well-educated, Caltech for that matter, had to be one of those people of a weaker mind. Because when you're driving, or you took the train for that matter from California, when you're taking the train, you have a lot of time to think about it as you're riding that train. You honestly think you're going to make change in the government? It's not going to happen. All you're going to do is, hurt families, hurt your own family, Now, this guy's family is going to be questioned forever. They'll always be looked at sideways. The guy's alive, so he will never be free again. He'll be in jail for the rest of his life, along with all these other assassins. And a guy, well educated. I don't know what gets in the mindset of these people that they honestly think they're going to force change by killing the president of the United States or the vice president, the president's wife. I don't know how good of a shot these are. This guy could be just shooting aimlessly, hit some poor bastard at the table there somewhere. Someone just having it for cocktails. They had this one picture of this woman grabbing all the wine bottles. Tell you what, there was a shooting in the banquet hall, and I'm being evacuated. It's chaos. I'm grabbing a few bottles myself. I'm taking a few drinks. But fortunately, nobody was hurt. The Secret Service guy, bulletproof vest, prevented any damage. None of the shots. You're shooting those bullets. They're going to go somewhere. Fortunately, nobody was injured. This guy is in custody, and he will be in custody for the rest of his life. Young guy, I think he was like 31 years old. He's going to be in custody for the next 50, 60 years. I don't know, well educated. You just don't know what. He had all that time on the train to be thinking about this, saying, it's probably not a good plan. I'm going to try to run past the Secret Service. There's going to be security in this banquet place. You may get into the hotel. Now, I will say, when you got the president there and all these dignitaries, and there's a parking lot, one of the reporters was saying he parked his SUV in the garage. You could have loaded up your SUV with explosives like they did with 1993 with the World Trade Center. And they blew up the basement there with a U-Haul they rented from Jersey City. You could do some damage. You could rent the room. What this guy did, he had a room somewhere above the banquet. Could have had a bunch of explosions there, particular implosions, go down, set up. You could do a lot of damage. So now there's all the talk about the ballroom. I think, we're not paying for the ballroom. It's all been donated. So have a ballroom. Who cares? Want a ballroom? Get a ballroom. We're not paying for it, so what do we care? Let's get to something else that's going on. Mayor Solomon's 100 days. Yay! You got 100 days. You got 100 days. What did he do in those first 100 days? It says right from the city's website. He canceled the Pompidou. Well, we kind of knew that. Saving the city $40 million. Probably saved the city more than $40 million. And he's building affordable housing and a community center in his place. Probably not what we should have done. I would have rather seen us rent that space. And we could have used the revenue from that space to pay the bonds on Pat's side, which we sold, and buy 54 Journal Square. Could have been a real complimentary to the Lowe's Theater. But now we're going to put up the affordable housing. Listen, I'm not against affordable housing, but we're not going to have affordable housing. We may be looking at, if the city doesn't get like $150 million from state, and we're still $100 million in the hole, we may be looking at like a 35% tax increase. We don't get all the $150 million. It's a big reach. We're looking at somewhere between 37 and 20% tax increase. So Hoboken just had a 19%. So if you just kind of do the math and different size budgets and all, we got to generate some revenue here. But we did. I know we saved the city quite a bit of money with Pompidou. We could have generated some money with Pompidou. And like I was saying, with affordable, I don't have a problem with affordable housing. But unless the city's affordable, there's not going to be any affordable housing. Nothing can be affordable unless the city itself is. And we're really at the precipice of where it is almost becoming unlivable in Jersey City expense-wise. And if we do get hit with a 37 or a 20% increase, that's going to be tough. That's going to roll over into rent. It's going to roll over to the price of coffee. It's going to roll into the price of a buttered roll. Everything that you buy in the city, it's going to roll into that. And, you may have an affordable rent, but you're not going to be able to afford every friggin' thing else because everything is going to be so expensive. So now it comes to the point where we definitely got to figure out how to get things less expensive. I hate using the word affordable because even like some of these affordable apartments, $2,500 a month, $2,600, that's not really affordable. Solomon, he's done an order of tax abatements, covering about 100 tax abatements. I'm sure there's some of these guys that aren't up to speed on their abatements, but the big guys, they're up to speed on it. You're not going to get any of the major players here in Jersey City. He signed an executive order directing permanent public rent control database identifying every property that is lawfully subject to rent control. The initial review is almost complete. He directed municipal prosecutors to seek maximum penalties for housing violation, treating underaddressed violations and continuing daily violations per tenant, per unit, per day. Makes sense. Yeah, let's try not to be like Mandani, who exempted the New York Housing Authority from the bad landlords. Make sure our government housing authorities, Jersey City Housing Authority is part of it. There's been problems with that many times over the years. He recorded 6 affordable housing agreements locking in deed restrictions on 454 affordable units. I hate saying the affordable unit. It's almost like a drinking game name to say affordable. What is an affordable unit? How much is affordable? It's tough in Jersey City. It's, when you get out of downtown, people aren't making the same money in other parts of the city. Performed a fee structure for community cultural events, cutting the organizing costs in half, reversing the system that had billed the Philippine American Friendship Committee nearly $11,000 for an annual parade. Well, somebody's got to pay for the cops. I don't know if $11,000 is the right number. But, Solomon has made some good maneuvers here. He's at the 911 center. You got high hopes for that. There were issues with that. It needed an overhaul. So that's being done now. He extended immigrant protections throughout the city. Rebuilt the Vision Zero task force. I thought it was working all right before, but Vision Zero, I think we might be overplaying that. But you can't short safety. But I grew up in the city. We didn't have bump outs on the sidewalks. I actually just found out what the bump outs do. And I was watching something Solomon was saying that you can get further out on the road and you can see what cars are coming. I never have a problem seeing what cars are coming unless you got a big van in the way at the corner. But I think we overdo it with the Vision Zero. I don't want to short anything on safety, but again, I grew up in Jersey City. Safety was two-way, and I assume we're saying the safety of the cars and the truck was also on the pedestrians, of course, at the green, out in between, blah, blah, blah. One time I used to cross kids. I was a patrol boy at school. Now we have paid crossing guards, or cops for that matter. We have cops crossing people. One time, I was the guy. I crossed kids every day at school, at grammar school. Everyone made it home. They all got across the street. Everybody made it home because this kid, who was, 13, was the patrol boy who got everybody safely across the street and on their way home. Now, that patrol boy, who didn't get paid, by the way, maybe they owe me money, didn't get paid for those years, wearing the white belt with the silver badge, crossing those kids, got them home. Now you see crossing guards. That's the other thing. You see crossing guards, 5-6 blocks away from the school. I just had to get you across. We had to get you across Broadway and across the footbridge onto Newark Avenue. That was my job. We got you off the school grounds. After that, you were on your own. There were parents out there. He redeployed the Arrive Together health-centered co-responder program, pairing police officers with the mental health physicians and professionals to focus on high-traffic areas, including pedestrian plazas. I'm not big on pedestrian plazas, but you didn't vote for me as mayor, did you? I'm not into pedestrian plazas. I'm not into closing streets. That's the problem in Jersey City. We close streets for everything. Everything. Whatever's going on, we close the street for. If somebody's delivering pizza, we'll close the street now. Whatever is being done on that block, we close the street. But Solomon has made some strides here in his 100 days. What we need to do is figure out how to reduce some costs. Now, we're looking at a budget. Yeah, we're coming close to $1 billion budget. Right now, we have a $255 million deficit. Now, I thought Solomon had reduced the health by $50 million. I know I read it somewhere. When I was texting him the other day, he said, no, $30 million. I think the municipalities, the county, we all got to get together. Maybe you form your own insurance company. I don't know how you do it, but we're spending tons of money here on insurance for city employees, county employees. You know, here's the case where we talk about shared services. Maybe you sit down with Emily in Hoboken and whoever's going to be in Bayonne, Sacco and Stack and figure out, can we do this ourselves? Can we get an insurance professional in here? Show us what the risks are. But we're saving $30 million a year. That means somebody was making $30 million a year. Yeah, is there another way? It's not the state plan anymore. That's why a lot of these municipalities going in the private sector for health insurance. There has to be another way. Everything has to be another way now because it is getting that expensive. Just going the old routine, well, we'll get out of state plan, we'll go on a private plan. That's been going on since the days of Cunningham. We've got to find something long-term that truly saves money for the city. Now, I don't know about going self-insured, but you can start a nonprofit insurance company with all the municipalities and the county involved. Something's got to change because what we're doing now ain't working. But we are in huge holes here, and it is extremely expensive. That's the kind of things we got to look at. The other thing he's got to look at, and Solomon hasn't done anything yet. Maybe he's still waiting for the 150, but we know we're $100 million in the hole, or somewhere around that number. I don't know if we get 150 from the state. That would be like 3 times the most distressed city money the state's ever been issued. Real cuts have got to come. Real expense savings have got to come. The $30 million is a hell of a start. We got to generate more revenues. We got to figure out what's happening in the city that we can generate revenue from. Not in taxes. You don't want to push a tax out there that it gets into everybody's pocket, and not everybody is utilizing what that tax is representing. You got to figure out what we can do that doesn't affect everybody and it's kind of like a user fee. I had the thing with the driveways. Yeah, all these new homes got driveways. You knock down a house on my block and you build another one and there's a driveway. Now you got a spot out of the street lottery that, forever we lost a parking spot. The driveway, you can put a driveway in. I don't know where it mandates that you get that reserved spot in the street, but there should be a fee for that. And nobody likes to pay money. Nobody wants a higher tax. Nobody wants fees. But if you have a designated parking spot, your driveway, where you come home every night and you pull it into your driveway, that's nice. Isn't that? That's a nice comfort. What a nice thing to have instead of riding around the block hours after hours on what I call citizen patrol. I think you can get $600 a year for a driveway permit. I pay for city parking. I pay a lot more than $600 a year. I would love to have a driveway. If that fuel tank ever has a problem at my house and I have to pull that fuel tank out, I guarantee you when that tank comes out and that cement goes back down, there'll be a driveway there. But there's a lot of illegal driveways. But even the illegal ones now, we're making illegal apartments, bring them up to code. Boom, you won. Your illegal apartment will be now legal. Even the illegal driveways, we can get $600. There's a lot of driveways in Jersey City, so you can make some impact there. There are a lot of things we could do. I know the councilman in Hoboken was talking about naming rights and all these different things, a little pie in the sky stuff. But there are some real concrete things, like a concrete driveway, that you can get real money for. So that's kind of thing we need to look at that stuff. And can we get it done? I think that's a real possibility. There are other things. We got a trash contract. I know we can save money on that. These are the things we have to do. If we can save, and I'm not looking at little money, even though every little pennies add up. I'm talking millions. That if you could save $1 million, $2 million, $500,000, we're in. You could generate revenue, we're in. That's how we got to look at it. But we have to come up with a whole different game on how to run municipal governments. But what we're doing now doesn't work. The prices just keep going up and up. We're close to a $1 billion budget in Jersey City. It's amazing. I remember during the days at Glenn, we were talking about a $300 million budget. We're knocking on $1 billion. We already reached that with the public school system, the Board of Ed, which also was raising its taxes, by the way. So, like I said, we might be looking at 20 some odd percent tax increase. Worse, maybe 37, 35% tax increase in Jersey City. Those are frightening numbers. We have to come up with a different game plan here. And Solomon is hiring some pros. He's doing some searches. Keep finding people in New York City. For that matter, I got a new BA coming in. She's also from New York City. Our DPW guy is also from New York City. In the old days, we would have nationwide searches. We'd always find the guy in Jersey City. Not the case now. May find somebody living in Jersey. For that matter, with some of the hires that Mayor Solomon has done, they have to get waivers because they're not residents of the city of Jersey City. But there's some housekeeping that can be taken care of. You give them a year to find a place in Jersey City. If they're living in New York, if they're renting, they'll be happy to come to Jersey City. If they own property in New York, they're like, not sure I want to give up my property in New York. We'll see how that goes. But somehow, somewhere, we have to come up with a whole different game on how municipal governments work. I don't mean we got to change, change how we reinvent the wheel kind of thing here. We have the insurances have to be looked at, not just health. I mean, vehicle insurances, any insurances, they're all out of whack. My insurance with the studio. Thankfully, I have no claims. That does not stop them from raising my insurances constantly. Constantly, no claims. 20 some odd years, no claims. Knock on this wood here, and my rates keep going up. It doesn't pay to be good. It should have some claims. Everything just goes up. So that's something the city's got to look at. Insurances, they're all everything that's on the table. Is there another way to do that? We can reduce the cost of the city. Again, you're talking about affordable housing all you want. If the city's not affordable, there is no affordable housing. Affordable housing isn't $2,800 a month for a single bedroom. And that's the bottom line there. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You're listening to The City Show here on GGR. I'll be right back. Your basement or attic packed? You no longer have a garage? Extra Space Storage has space. Self-storage units starting at 4 foot by 4 foot and up for the storage of furniture, appliances, electronics, clothing, business inventory, sporting equipment. Some Extra Space locations even have vehicle storage. Extra Space Storage from North Bergen to Toms River and everywhere in between and beyond. Visit on the net for your nearest Extra Space Storage location, extraspace.com.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Your basement or attic packed? You no longer have a garage? Extra Space Storage has space. Self-storage units starting at 4 foot by 4 foot and up for the storage of furniture, appliances, electronics, clothing, business inventory, sporting equipment. Some Extra Space locations even have vehicle storage. Extra Space Storage from North Bergen to Toms River and everywhere in between and beyond. Visit on the net for your nearest Extra Space Storage location, extraspace.com. Hi, I'm Pat O'Melia with the Hudson County High School Sports and Entertainment Network, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. You may have heard me talk about teaching high school juniors and seniors studio and radio production. The hope is when these kids graduate and wish to continue their education, they may receive college scholarships, or if not, they will have the experience from our program to get employment at the major motion movie studios here in New Jersey and New York. I started a GoFundMe where you can make a donation completely tax deductible to help these kids and the studio program. Please go to GoFundMe and type in Hudson County High School Sports and Entertainment Network. I thank you now for your generosity. Toms River Armory, 602 Clifton Avenue, right at the intersection of Clifton Avenue and Route 37 at Toms River. Your local source for all your firearm, ammo needs, and accessories. Plus, gunsmithing, repair, and cleaning on site. And coming soon, firearm training and classes. Toms River Armory, 732-569-3730. On the net at tomsriverarmory.com. Open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Toms River Armory, 602 Clifton Avenue at the intersection of Route 37 and Clifton Avenue in Toms River. Visit on the net at tomsriverarmory.com.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
All right, we're back. Pat O'Melia here, City Show, GGR. Don't forget, download the Live 360. Hey, friend, download the Live 365 app. Get back to money in Jersey City. As we struggle, as Solomon is struggling with the budget, you know, he's looking at a big hole of $250 million, or he's looking at $100 million, but he's looking at a pretty big hole there that eventually is going to come to us, the people of Jersey City, the property owners of Jersey City, the renters of Jersey City, because when the taxes go up, everything goes up, and it's going to get quite expensive. I don't want to say affordable. I hate saying affordable. It's going to be like a drinking game. We're going to do that one of these days. Speaking of games, tentatively, John Heinous is, we're doing a debate. Congressional debate, Robert Menendez Jr. versus Masab Ali on May the 6th at 6 p.m. I know John's working on the final details. John's moderating it. Of course, I'm producing it. I don't get to go on camera like John does. John gets all the cool part of the job. But we'll be doing that, I think, something for an hour. It might be an hour. Head one-on-one. Yeah, an hour. 1 hour is good. 2 guys. One-on-one. If you could guarantee there'll be some flame throwing going on there. So save the date. It will be on our YouTube or Facebook, all that stuff, channels. So save the date, 6 p.m., May the 6th. City Council. Now we got 7 new members. Actually, 1 recycled. You got 6 new members, 1 recycled there with my buddy Rolando Rivera. And you got Gilmore and Frank Gilmore and Denise Ridley are returnees, holdovers from the last council. So you really got 6 new guys in there, and some of them are coming in. They've 3 of them are picking dates for their live radio town halls, so you can sit at the comfort of your living room, your car, your porch, wherever you're sitting, and you can hear what's going on in your ward, in wards D, C, and B so far. And you can call toll free. You'll be able to talk to your council people. Say, what the hell's going on here? They're starting in May. I think the first one is May 14th. Well, we'll get to that. We got a while. We got a few weeks to go for that. But the city council is thinking about getting their own attorney instead of using the corp council. Like, corp council is supposed to serve both sides, but it always kind of leaned towards the mayor. So they're thinking about hiring their own legal representation. They're expensive, the lawyers, as I'm sure you all know. And when we're looking at huge budget gaps there, and we just gave out some raises recently, if I'm Trenton, and you're asking me for $150 million, and I'm reading like they're talking about getting their own lawyers for the council. How are they paying them? How you doing this? How you doing that? It's probably not a good look right now. It's bad optics. And again, we always had the corp counsel serve both. Actually, you got an attorney on the board now with Zupa. So you kind of got the council has some legal representation there. He may not be a municipal, specialized in a municipal government, but Tom's a pretty smart guy. But as far as hiring an attorney just for the council, we ain't got the money, baby. Simple as that. You may want to go across after you walk out of the chambers, the council chambers there, make a left and go into Solomon's office and say, we're thinking about hiring somebody, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to represent us in the city. And I'm sure Solomon's going to give you some advice there, which is right off the bat going to say, don't do it. So I don't understand why you're in a bad spot here. You're trying to get money from the state. And here you are trying to spend money, which we don't have. LPR. You know what LPR is? That's a license plate reader. They are everywhere. Jersey City parking enforcement use it. Jersey City police use it. They're on poles. They're on private homes, these cameras. They're all over reading lights. I think some of the supermarkets have them. Some supermarkets even there in their parking lot. Some supermarkets have facial recognition. Believe me, when you're in a supermarket, you're being watched. When you're in a property, you're being watched. Yeah, they got those, vulture towing companies. You go into a ShopRite or a Kohl's or wherever, and you think you're going to park there and, go take a bus somewhere or go to some other business besides that parking lot. They're watching everything you do. LPRs are everywhere. Every law enforcement uses it, and there's a good use to it too. Now, what the LPRs do, they read the license plate as they're riding by. In Jersey City, we use it to find out if you got a permit to park in Jersey City, and probably other things. It'll come up if your car's not registered. It'll come up if the car's stolen. Also, if the LPRs, if there's an amber alert or a silver alert, that plate would come up. As the cop's driving along, and boom, picks up that plate. Now, there's always, those all points bulletins go out, but the cop doesn't remember every freaking license plate number. But that LPR will pop up. Amber alert, silver alert, sex trafficking, drug dealers, known drug dealers, people we want to keep an eye on. If you're anywhere near a bridge or a tunnel, the Port Authority has LPRs everywhere. They're all over the place. Now, Weehawken wants to install LPRs, and he wanted to put one on a pole that's owned by the county of Hudson. And there's a big issue about that right now. There's some people in the public that don't want LPRs. Their concern is with illegal immigrants. That's the main concern there. I think the benefit outweighs that. Like I said, amber alerts, silver alerts, sex trafficking, unregistered motor vehicles, drug deals, all these things. We're looking for these cars, stolen cars, which is especially high end. Well, actually, any kind of cars are stealing. It pings, boom. That car, the squad car, the car rides by the squad car rides by it. Boom, there's the plate. We know where that car is now. Now you can set up a little stakeout and wait for the guy to come and lock him up. Could be as simple as a unregistered motor vehicle. You write a ticket, put it on the dashboard. You get people stupid like me who have too many cars, by the way. And I do sometimes forget. For that matter, there's one on my desk here right now to register the high school van. The high school van is due in June. Now, I tried to do, I just got this, and it's right here. I'm going to re-register this long before June. Because in the past, June got like 3 months, which is probably one of the only websites in the state that work really well, is the motor vehicle renewal. Great. Boom, it's done. You could do it 1, 2, 3. I would wait like the last minute, and then, another piece of paper would get on top of it or whatever, and then you forgot all about it. My Lincoln, I got a ticket unregistered. It was parked in front of the studio. I had it over the weekend, and it got pinged, the license plate. And I'm driving home. I didn't take that. I'm using my Oldsmobile, and realizing when I'm driving the Oldsmobile, Guess what? I didn't register what they did. I had to register the two of them. But as soon as I got to the office, I was able to knock them right out. And you could do that online. But the LPRs are a necessary evil. You may feel that's Big Brother is watching, but I got a problem with CCTV cameras. You're walking down Central Avenue or the Boulevard or something like that, and you're being filmed. That I got a problem with. I don't have a problem with the LPRs because they serve a hell of a purpose. There's a number attached to that car. We may be looking for that car. We may be looking for the person who's associated with that car. And, like I said, the police, you can give them all the all points bulletins, silver, Hyundai. All these cars look alike. So it's not like the old days where you're looking for a silver 68 Chevy. You spot it a mile away. With the LPRs, it pings them right off. And like I said, it's silver alerts. It's amber alerts. It's sex trafficking. It's drug trafficking. You name it. Like I said, you go to Port Authority, you go on the turnpike, yeah, you're LPR. These LPRs everywhere. So I know the county is fighting with this. Weehawken's asking for permission. Even if you turn down Weehawken, they're still putting all these around Weehawken, these LPRs. Plus, they are very close to the Port Authority. They probably are getting the Port Authority to pay for the LPRs. It's a case where the horses left the barn a while ago with LPRs. For that matter, those horses left the barn and died of old age. That's how old this is. It's a necessary evil. Tourism helicopters. I think I mentioned this before. I must be missing this. Now, I'm in the Heights. Maybe they don't fly over the Heights, the helicopters. I know when I'm down in Seaside Heights, there's helicopters and there's planes pulling banners around and all that. There's always something flying around in Seaside Heights. As far as Jersey City, unless I'm not on that track that they use, I don't see these helicopters, unless there's an accident. If there's an accident, I'm driving to work, and you look up and you see that helicopter, there's an accident on Tunley Avenue. Sure enough, there's an accident on Tunley Avenue, so you got to try to get around it. I don't see these helicopters. I know Commissioner Bill O'Day and Mayor Harold Doyle in Kearney fighting tooth and nail to curtail or eliminate the tourism helicopters. It's been around for years, tourism. And there was an accident a year ago, plane helicopter basically disintegrated in flight. And I'd say about 10 years ago, we had a helicopter and a small plane collide over the Hudson River. And we were up for a dedication of a swimming pool in Union City. I don't see all this traffic. I know Billy was talking about there was an advertisement where they were advertising the tourism flights to go over New York City. And I know New York City has an issue with it. I just don't see it in my part. Maybe I'm not down in Lincoln Park all the time. Maybe they're flying over Lincoln Park, and that's the track they take to get out of Kearney. I know O'Day was saying in the story I read that he was going back and forth with the mayor of Kearney, saying, Mayor, I don't see the helicopters going west into Kearney. I see the helicopters taking off. They're coming across the Hackensack River going into Jersey City or Hoboken. I personally, like I said, I'm in the Heights. Maybe I'm not on the track that the helicopters use, but I don't see it. Maybe it's not a big deal. Or maybe we're making a mountain out of a molehill here. But I just don't see all the helicopter traffic. Like I said, you go to Seaside, there's planes and helicopters all over the place. I just don't see it here in Jersey City. Van Kuren Avenue. Hey, Pat, where is Van Kuren Avenue? Van Kuren Avenue is in Dogpatch, Jersey City, my home, where me come from. Down to basically, you take St. Paul's Avenue all the way down to the Hackensack River, hang a left. You get over to Van Kuren. And they're talking about putting a waste transfer station there. Nobody wants a waste transfer station in their neighborhood. But ideally, if you were going to put one in Jersey City somewhere, this is probably the best spot. But I am literally blocks and blocks away from a residential unit. The first residential unit I would see from Van Kuren in Dogpatch is up on James Street. And there's only a few homes there. Not that it lessens it. Nobody wants to live next to a waste transfer station. But I'm pretty damn far away from those units on James Street, James and Dice Street there. You would have to go across the circle, the Charlotte Circle, over to Broadway, to where you would now hit more residential housing. But that's quite a distance. Now we create a lot of garbage, and you got to put it somewhere. We none of one wants it in our backyard. And Van Curen Avenue is basically in nobody's backyard. It's right there on the edge of the Hackensack River. There's no residential down there. There's no there. This is where I grew up. It's been desolated down there. I think what they're talking about is the old Welland Oil site, where Welland was years and years ago. For that matter, I used to repair tractor trailers. I think that's where they're talking about. I'd have to look closer at the map. Now, again, I'll go with the sentiment of the people. I know there's a meeting on the. Got the information here. Yeah, we do. There's a meeting on the 29th, Thursday, at 60 West Side Avenue from 6 to 8 p.m. That's at one of the halls there, where you can go down there and speak your mind, pro or con. But keep in mind, there's no there. I'm blocks and blocks. I'm a lot of blocks away from the nearest residential unit. And somewhere along the line, we got to get involved with dealing with the waste and garbage that we create. The only other place I could think of that is even further away is the Coppice Coat property across the Hackensack River in Kearney, going further north. And I've been down there a long time. I know for a while the county was talking to the state about putting a natural gas generating station, electric generating station there for the ARC or Gateway Tunnel. I don't know if that's still on the drawing board, but there's a lot of property there. But yeah, it's unfortunate. We have to deal with the byproducts of our existence, and that is all the garbage that we create. But that, again, the transfer station meeting is April the 29th at 60 West Side Avenue, and it's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. Go there if you got a problem with it. Speak your mind. Pathside Building, I mentioned that before. Ideally, with the Pompidou space in the new construction site there alongside the Lowe's Theater, we got 100,000 square foot. That would have been Pompidou. Pompidou's dead. There was an abatement, 30-year abatement given, and the city got 100,000 square feet. A prime spot. This is one of the better abatement deals. Normally, we'd get, a dog run or something like that. 100,000 square feet of new construction. I had suggested that we lease that. For that matter, I even told the Cushions they should probably try to find the city a tenant. Somebody can rent that to $70 a square foot a year, 100,000 square feet. You got some real money there. Like I said, you could have paid for the bonds on the Pathside Building and purchased 54 Journal Square. The city has now sold the Pathside Building, the old PS&G building there, the old Hudson County Community College. It had a lot. It was a PS&G building when I was a kid. That's when they had buses, the public service buses. So you were old in Jersey City. You remember when they had the buses there. They sold it to the Cushions, so that'll become some, residential whatever there. And the city will use the money to plug the huge $250 million budget hole. The only thing that's interesting about that is, we were attacking the former mayor, Steve Fulop, for allegedly selling 1,000 properties. That's a lot of properties. He was selling 6, 7, 8 properties a month to sell 1,000 through his term as 3 terms as mayor. I know he sold damn near every friggin' parking lot we have. I think the only ones left is Burger King, a lot on Central and Congress, and I think a lot across from the North Precinct, and I think maybe one more downtown. Tiny little North Bergen has more municipal parking lots than huge Jersey City. I love the argument if they say, well, people in Jersey City, they don't need cars. We got this great mass transit. We have no mass transit. There is none. That's why, when they say that, they're not going to use cars. People over here, they don't use cars. Again, go down to 18th and Jersey Avenue. All the new construction down there, all the new building. See if there are any cars around. There are cars freaking everywhere. I go back 5, 6 years ago, there were no cars down there. Now the cars are everywhere because you built these high rises. And all these people who don't use cars went out and got cars. Jersey people drive. Simple as that. We're going to drive. Simple as that. And if you don't, you're going to take the light rail. I've never taken a light rail. I've heard stories of people that rip off the light rail with not getting a ticket and using the same one for like months. They're talking about running the Hudson Bergen light rail in a Bayonne to the 1888 studios that is under construction. We're going to run a light rail just at the studio. Now, there might be an employment generator there. But, I opened a studio in North Bergen 10-something years ago, and they didn't run no freaking light rail to me. They didn't run it. Nope. Didn't run it. But supposedly it's going to create a lot of jobs, that studio. Paramount is purchasing or leasing a lot of space there. I think they signed a 10-year lease. That's why I'm teaching these kids. And you heard the commercial before. I'm teaching these kids studio and radio production. Ideally, if I can get these guys, I might even add another year. Right now we're doing juniors and seniors. Might bring the sophomores in so we get a little more time with these kids. There's a lot of opportunities for these kids in studio production. Editing, lighting, camera. Editing is going to be pretty interesting with AI. Because you see what AI is doing, and that's basically just typing in something into your phone these days. But there's always going to be camera people. There's always going to be lighting. There's always going to be audio. There's always going to be set designers. There's always going to be those studio production people. Editing may become something really simple. It's just in my short time, in the last 20-some-odd years of running a studio, 22 years running a studio now, it is amazing how editing has changed. Where it used to slice the film together, now it's all done on a computer, and now it's going to get to the point where you're just going to press some buttons on your computer or literally talk to your computer, and the AI is going to edit that show for you and handle all the commercial breaks, all that. My programs can't do it yet, but I'm sure in a very short span of time, I'll have AI that can actually do that. But there'll always be the need for that person that could frame a shot. One of the hardest things I teach to these people with cameras is to frame the shot. We do a lot of 3-camera shoots, and it's a far shot, what we call a 3-cam. That's my set shot. Everything starts from the center of that set. We have to determine what is the center. Is it the monitor? Is it the corner? Is it a flag? Whatever the center is, that's where we build out from. And then you go in on the ISOs on the guest, and you got to make sure you have the appropriate, head spot, chest, that sort of thing. Framing the shot, the toughest thing I get to teach. Lighting, audio. Audio is always tricky. Anytime you do live, it's always tricky. If there's a gremlin that's going to pop up in your production, it's going to pop up during a live broadcast. But that's why we're teaching these kids now. Some of them last year, we got some scholarships. Hopefully we get some more scholarships this year. I'm also working on summer jobs for the students that are in my program. I got a lot of good kids, for that matter. Wednesday, I got some of my kids covering that basketball game. They'll be there with the cameras, the wireless mics, the tripods, the shoulder-slung camera mounts. You'll see my kids. We're not going to film a lot because it is intellectual property of the Harlem Wizards here. I don't think they want us shooting the whole basketball game and putting it online. But why would you go see them if you can see the whole damn thing online? But this is the reason we're doing this. Hopefully, when my kids graduate, they go to college with scholarships, free ride. They should benefit from college, not the college benefiting. If not, they can get jobs in these studios. And there's a lot of these studios coming up, 1888 in Bayonne, Lionsgate in Newark. We already got Cinelease going in Jersey City. You got the big Netflix compound in Monmouth County. So that's when I'm working with these kids. Right now, I'm about out of show. So remember, you got the Van Curen meeting for the waste transfer station. And you got the basketball game on the 29th. The Van Curen is on the 28th at 60 West Side Avenue. The basketball game with the Harlem Wizards at the North Bergen High School in North Bergen. Go on the North Bergen High School website. I'm sure you get all the information. But you go right to the door and get some tickets. It looks like a lot of good family fun. If you like the Harlem Globetrotters, I'm sure you'll like the Harlem guys in there. And it just looks like it's going to be a good night. So I'm at a show. You be good. You be safe. I'll talk to you during the week. Good night.
Say you don't know me, I recognize my face. Say you don't care who goes to that kind of place. Knee deep in the hoopla, sinking in your fight.